Before we start this video, I like to say that I don't have a personal problem with AGN. He has a lot of good gaming points within this community. So like I said, so if he does say something, this is just me chiming in. So there's really no reason to take it personal, because at the end of the day, what is the point of a gaming community if we can't even talk about video games with one another? So like I said, if he wants to make a response, like I said, there's no ill will or malice. But at the end of the day, I don't have time for this constant, I'm going to dance with it, because if that's what it is, I'm not going to respond to it. Now, if you want to chime in and, retort what I said in regards to this video, because you do have good gaming points on YouTube, so that's the reason why I'm talking about it, that's it. That's all it should ever be. I'm not here looking for a confrontation. I think you have good gaming points in this community. You're the only one really saying it. So I figured, you know what? Let me chime in all this.
PC gaming, but Nintendo is king.
You got MBG's cat looking like, oh, something about to happen. Oh, no. Oh, no. Say it ain't so. Of course, I'm going to make a few jokes. Uh-oh. We got another episode. Here we go.
Because they give way more than every other platform. All these other platforms, you take a bunch of people's games. You don't give what they give. You don't. Steam gives nothing. What?
Are you serious? See, now I wouldn't go as far to say that Steam gives nothing. What do you mean? I mean, Steam has far more games than what you're getting off the Nintendo Switch 1 as well as 2. And if you guys want to talk about exclusives, well, guess what? Steam also has more exclusives than you too. There's a lot of games that come out on Steam that never even come out on console, and even when they do, games like Ark and Rust, they happen to be far worse versions than the games that you could have gotten on PC. It is what it is. So I don't really understand that, AGN. I don't know what you mean. Are you talking about exclusivity? Because even if that's the case, that's not what people are playing anyway, so I don't really think that matters.
What are your games at? Past 20 years, nothing. Same old games sitting there.
Nothing. Matter of fact, Steam gets games even before the consoles get them. In a lot of cases, like Baldur's Gate 3, there's quite a few games that they've gotten first on Steam before they even made their release on console. So I'm just trying to understand what he's trying to say, because if you ask me, that don't make no sense.
Nintendo's consistently dropping 6, 7, 8 games per year. We're talking about what Microsoft did. Man, Nintendo's been doing it for 40 straight years. 35 straight years, as a matter of fact. Selling consistently from their own.
Not necessarily, because I can't go as far to say that Nintendo did that with the NES. They definitely didn't do that with the Super Nintendo. Now, I'm not saying that Nintendo didn't pump out their games. Sega was pumping out more games than them. And like I've said before, Sega owns Streets of Rage, Shadow Dancer, and Shining Force. Final Fantasy is not Nintendo. Chrono Trigger is not Nintendo. So they were benefiting from the same third party that's also benefiting the PlayStation platform. The problem is that Sony's not really benefiting from it no more, because now gaming has been taken over by free-to-plays. It is what it is. These are the games that people are playing. So obviously the gaming market has shifted and changed.
Insights. They didn't grab and monopolize anything. And
yes, they did. Matter of fact, if you know gaming history, they did it with the Sega Genesis. Anybody that has been playing, I know this stuff, guys. Nintendo tried to do illegal contracts to make sure that y'all know what I'm saying. Gamester with another W. You guys know that I'm speaking facts. That is true. They're like, oh, you got to put it on the NES, 5-year contract. You can't put it on another competing platform. That's why the NES and Super Nintendo was getting all those third-party games. And that's why when they made games for Sega Genesis, it was a different version of a game. Like, so Super Nintendo had Contra 3 Alien Wars, but then the Sega Genesis had Contra Hard Corps. There was a reason for that, because of the illegal contracts that Nintendo had during those times. That's why when PlayStation 1 came out, Sega was like, PlayStation, Sony, they don't know how to make games. They definitely don't. But what they end up doing was making a piece of hardware that was accessible for developers to make games on it, while having the CD technology also, help in promoting a lot of those games. So they said, you know what? And it was one of the highest selling hardwares out there. So companies felt like, okay, we'll be loyal to you. But as soon as these third-party publishers or developers or whatever you want to call them finally got the momentum where like, oh, we're popular, we don't even need you no more, Sony, then you started seeing Tekken popping up everywhere, because they started realizing that we don't really need you. We might have banked off the backs of you, PlayStation, but at the end of the day, people enjoyed our games. Nobody cared about your exclusives. Because to be honest with you, a lot of those games was third party. Tomb Raider, matter of fact, Tomb Raider came out first on the Sega Saturn. Tekken was originally planned as a Sega Saturn exclusive. Like, you guys got to really know your gaming history. I do. So that's why I'm here telling you that you're kind of wrong. Nintendo did try to monopolize gaming. They did it during the NES and the Super Nintendo.
Running multiple hardwares, handheld and consoles consistently 24/7 for years and never falling apart, never laying off.
Yes, they did. Nintendo fell apart during the N64. They fell apart during the GameCube. I mean, the Wii was more of a gimmick. I mean, people did buy into it, but I mean, honestly, nobody really cared for it. People really cared more about the PS3 and 360. And let's not forget the Wii U, which was a home console. Now, in regards to portable gaming, that's a whole different story. Like I said, we already know Nintendo has always been successful within their portable gaming division. You're not going to have me argue that. But to sit there and say that Nintendo has always been successful is clearly a blatant lie.
And dumping off their people, that bond is not going to be beaten. It's too strong now. You don't stand a chance. The only thing you can do is learn from it. And that means strengthen my insides and my identity. And don't cuck out. But if you have to, hey, man, that's where this industry's headed.
I don't build my identity off a platform. I build my identity as a gamer by just playing games no matter where they go. It doesn't really matter that much to me. Now, like I said, I'm not here to take shots at AGN. I'm just saying in general. I'm just using this as a reference because he's the only person that I know that brought it up that Steam has nothing. And I personally don't understand that because Steam has far more games than what you can get on your Xbox as well as your PlayStation. But yet, apparently, Steam has nothing. I've never heard that before. Like, that to me is a crazy take, unless you're talking about first party. But then at the end of the day, I mean, most PC gamers don't use this argument, but they have more exclusive games than you. They have way more exclusive games than you. Even more than Nintendo.
More money, they want more profit, so they're expanding out. Sony doesn't necessarily have to do it to that degree, but they want that extra money. They made more money than they ever had in any generation. They ain't even over it. Still got years to go.
And that has a lot to do with the subscription. Like I've said before, PlayStation, Microsoft, and including Nintendo is making money solely based off you guys toggling an online option, which practically costs them nothing. That's where the money is coming from. Those live services subscriptions, those PlayStation Plus, those Nintendo online subscriptions, as well as that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, that is where the money for these consoles are going to. It is what it is. Not the console, software to a certain degree. I think Nintendo can say that for their argument, but PlayStation, not really. They're making more money off people paying to play Call of Duty online than if they sat there and sold you an exclusive game. That is the facts. That's why the top games on PlayStation is third party and free to plays.
See what I mean? Switch One tripled the PlayStation's profit. You know what I mean? They did. Go look at it. And the highest sales they have on there was some GTA game, Vice City or San Andreas, like 17, 18 million. Nintendo said over there 50 million, 77 million Mario Kart, 50 million Animal Crossing, 30 millions all over, 20 millions all over. Sony ain't never in their life did nothing like that. The closest they ever could have gotten was with PS4. So when you understand this totality power that they have, like Gabe Newell said, there are ways of...
But Nintendo really don't have power because they were the first to leave home consoles. Where was this power? Like I've said before, the same games that were available on the Switch 1. Nobody's arguing that these games didn't sell within the 40 to 50 millions. I know that already. Like I've said. But my point is, where was this exclusivity weight argument with the Wii U? Because if everybody cared about Nintendo exclusives, then why was the Wii U a failure? And we can go as far in games to people like, explain that game. Mario Kart started on the Wii U. Smash Bros. 4, like I said, Ultimate is very similar to 4, just with more characters and stages. It did well enough considering the install base, but I'm saying that didn't gravitate people to go buy a Wii U. People buy the Switch because, like I've said before, it's a hybrid between console and portable gaming. But if you want to be technical, AGN, Nintendo was the first, well, besides Sega and a few others, but in regards to the big three, was the first to leave home console gaming. That's why they decided to make their home console division a part of their portable gaming market. That's why the Switch exists. That's why you don't hear about a Nintendo Switch and a home console of a Nintendo device, because Nintendo has left home console gaming. You guys know this.
Hardware and software harmoniously together, Nobody's like Nintendo. He was looking at them to make the Steam Deck. Everybody is going to them to make their own device like theirs. That's when you realize that's the winner and the creator and the leader. It's not about being a fanboy. It's about, this is a fact. Nobody's making up anything over here. This is exactly what's happening. Not have on a Nintendo hat, have on a Nintendo background, have Nintendo all on my page, and have a Nintendo t-shirt every single day. And it's only that, yeah, that would be a fanboy, but there's nothing wrong with being a fanboy.
I would disagree. I would say there's nothing wrong with being a fan of something, but I most definitely do think there's something wrong with being a fanboy. I mean, just look at the behavior, what these people doing. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, that might be more of a minor disagreement, but like I've said, this is all involved in a gaming conversation. That's all it is. If you feel like you want to chime in and say, hey man, GameStop, this is where you wrong at, that's fine. But if it goes to, I'm here to dance with, I don't want to hear it, bro. I'm not even going to respond to it. I don't even care if people even say, hey, well, he said, I don't even care. Because like I said, it's a waste of time. Like I said, we're talking about video gaming. Let's keep it at where it's at. Nobody's even here to discredit you. I'm just here to chime in my point of view and be like, well, I don't agree with that. That to me doesn't make sense, because you say that Nintendo has this power dynamic, but yet then why did they leave home consoles? Why didn't these exclusives help sell the N64 and the GameCube as much as the PlayStation 1, which was all third party, which we all know it was? How come, where was the shift? Oh, that's right. The only shift that Nintendo got was when they made a console. Nintendo decided to take their home console division and shift it towards what the Switch is. That's why the Switch and the Wii U have very similar hardware. That's why, if you notice, a lot of the Wii U games that were developed for that console also got ported to the Switch. Breath of Wild, Mario Kart 8, Wonderful 101, etc., etc. You guys know what I'm talking about. So, at the end of the day, if Nintendo had this so-called exclusivity weight, then why did nobody care enough to buy their home consoles? Using the portable gaming market, a market that Nintendo has always dominated in, it to me is not a good argument. Because Nintendo has always dominated in portable gaming. It is what it is. You even go as far to say that Sony could never did that. Exactly, and you're right. But even then, even though Sony never dominated, the PSP was still right behind it, and it still did very well in comparison. So that's all I'm saying. I don't care about this one, so I don't care. I think as gamers, we need to stop caring about these things, because to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter to us.
I'm just saying, we need to get our facts straight here, because AGN is spitting facts here. There is no competing with them. There is, man, can I get some of that magic? I want that now, because you made it that way. I couldn't have done that. I quit. You quit. You left out. It's like Microsoft is quitting and leaving out. Same thing. You can't compete.
Well, no, I would go as far to say that Microsoft is doing the same thing that Nintendo did at a time. They seen that home consoles wasn't doing well for them, so they decided to take the home console market and make a hybrid between the two. Just like with Microsoft, they do very well in PC gaming, but like you would go as far to say that the consoles don't really sell the way that Microsoft would want to, so therefore they make a hybrid. I feel like we got to wait for this hybrid to come out before we can really say anything, personally, because if we're giving Microsoft an L for that, then you also got to give Nintendo an L as well. They left home consoles. I don't think Nintendo will ever go back to making a home console. We've had people tell me, oh, GameCube, they would never go back to that. Because you know why? It will flop. Because at the end of the day, exclusives only sell on Nintendo when it's portable. They don't sell when they home console. I mean, they do good. They do obviously sell the most, of course. I'm not saying people don't, but it don't gravitate people towards the platform, is what I'm saying. If the Switch 2 was a home console, it would already be dead in the water. Y'all know this. So let's not front here, man.
Now, hardware, console sales, yes. But outside of that, I'm like, okay, let's go to first party. You're not ready. Because those sales and that profit margin and that lower budget cost and beating you on cheaper specs, it means I'm better than you. It's like,
and I don't think that's a benefit, though. I don't think we should be giving companies benefits. And this is what I'm saying, man. You got PlayStation fan, we're not saying him specifically, but I'm saying you got PlayStation fanboys saying, oh, well, all those Xbox games coming to PlayStation, they're just getting free money and all Sony got to do is sit on their asses. Why are we giving credit for that? Why are we giving credit to a company? Like, understand, I'm only giving credit to where I'm benefiting from. In Xbox, I'm definitely benefiting. All these games coming out, regardless of where they go, and I'm playing them and I'm enjoying them. That's all I'm looking forward to. You think I care about, oh, well, PlayStation's getting that 30% money off Xbox games coming over. They don't have to do anything. That's fanboy stuff.
Cause and beating you on cheaper specs, that means I'm better than you. It's like me going on.
I wouldn't say that's better than you. I just think it's stupid. I think fanboys think about that. I think as gamers, we should all want the best product. That's why you hear people complain about Pokemon Legends. But if you ask a fanboy, they'll be like, oh, well, it's old. Like, I just feel like that's just a way to accept mediocrity, though. You feel what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you have people that are making valid complaints in regards to Pokemon Legends. But let's say from a fanboy perspective, they're going to be there and sit there and say, well, it's sold, though. So how are we ever going to get improvements in the gaming community if nobody wants to critique something and we want to use this trump card? Well, it's sold, therefore it doesn't matter. Like, I just don't like that. And that's why I've told you that I have an issue with fanboys. I have no problem with people enjoying a platform more than the other. It is what it is. People are going to have their preferences. But once you go down that fanboy territory, they start accepting mediocrity. And it is what it is. I just don't like it personally. Because I feel like as gamers, we all suffer because of it.
Fighting game. Oh, I'm going to choose these weak handicap settings. You get that, and I'm still whooping your ass. I'm better than you. Oh, yeah. You had all those specs and all that, and nah. You see what I'm saying? That's not an argument. It's just realizing, yeah, man, you're right. If you beat you on handicap specs, I don't know what else to say.
It's like, okay, well, we won the home console space. Microsoft is out.
Yeah.
No one else is taking Microsoft's place. So is there any other area around us that we can take a close look at that seems to be doing particularly well, that we're not involved in? Nintendo is literally like a giant, blinking sign. It's like, bro, the Switch and the Switch 2. So get on it,
Well, but that's not true, though. I'm going to explain why. And I'm going to say this in perspective. I'm not saying that the Switch 2 is not doing well, but just to say things in a way where people can understand, like, that gaming is far bigger than what you guys think. But you guys know that people play Candy Crush more than they play Mario Kart World. You do know that. Oh! Just saying the truth. You do understand that people play Roblox more than they play Mario. I mean, if you guys want to argue that, go ahead, because you're going to look stupid. People play Minecraft more than they play Mario. I'm saying this in a way so you guys can understand that, okay, yeah, Nintendo's big, they dominate, they're doing their thing, but there's also another untapped market as well, and that is the market that Microsoft is going for, that whole play anywhere strategy that you guys are completely against. Like you said, MBG also mentioned, there's other markets that we can dominate in, right? So therefore, if there's other markets that you could dominate in, why would any other company not do the same? Why does Microsoft, for some reason, get a negative connotation towards its name, but yet PlayStation could do it, Nintendo could put Pokemon Go on a phone, and nobody's talking about losing exclusivity? I'm just saying. I'm not saying that that's the argument that you're making, but that's the argument that I've heard other people make.
Right, yeah.
Damn, Tin Blood, that sucks.
Because Capcom is making more money, and they even came out with an article that Capcom said they make more money on PC than console. Do you think Capcom will abandon consoles? No, because they still make money off it. That's what people don't understand. They're still making money off the consoles. Yes, they make vast majority of their money on PC, but they also make money on consoles as well. Why would you completely cut out a market because one sells better than the other? That makes no sense from a business perspective. Yeah, that's like saying, well, Burger King sells well in this area, but it doesn't sell well in that one, but it sells well enough. Let's close that one down and have everybody go there. Now, mind you, that means you're single-handedly destroying a market of Burger King customers that came to this specific one, and most definitely they ain't going to drive 1 hour to get to the other one that's very popular. Why wouldn't you just keep both open and continue to get money from both of them? But yet we want to sit there, well, this Burger King had an estimate. That's what I'm saying. This whole estimate wars that y'all doing with this money finding doesn't make sense. Because at the end of the day, if I'm running, I'm keeping both of them open. Both of them open means double times the profit, regardless if one is making more money than the other one. That's not the point.
Everything over there. They have to say, oh, these are the people who could beat Sony. They've done it plenty of times. They've never lost to Sony in the handheld war, and they never will. And now it's going to be harder than ever. Sony won with the PS2 hardware sales in the PS1. That's it. PS3, we sold 100 and something million. PlayStation 4, Switch sold 100 and something million. 150 something million.
Yeah, but we gotta compare it from the generations that they came out. Like I said, the Wii sold about 100 and something, but a lot of people didn't really buy it. They bought the Nintendo games, but the third party was lackluster. There was a lot of software on it because the third party wanted to make as much money as they thought they could off the Wii and the casual gamer. But I would go as far to say that the 360 won that generation. If you want to talk about money, 360 won that generation. They were charging people for Xbox Live. They had some of the best high-selling games, very similar to what Nintendo does. They hit it in all departments. That's my whole point of it. Yeah, they sold a little bit lower than PS3, but PS3 was free online. They had to cut the price of $600 to $299. And this is what I'm saying. I don't care about this. I don't care. Like, I hope people understand. While I'm breaking this down, I don't care that Microsoft walked out with more money during the 360. I don't care. All I'm saying, we was all eating good during that time frame. But I'm just saying, if people want to talk about, well, this one made money, I don't care about this, bro. I'm caring about what I'm getting. Because at the end of the day, none of the money that they're getting is I'm benefiting from. So I don't care.
Switch 2 is going to sell PS5. Nintendo's beat Sony.
We don't know that, though. We don't know that. We can't say that. You said that the Switch 2 will outsell. That's going to be a very hard task because, like I've said before, when GTA 6 come out, I don't know who's going to want to look at a Switch 2 now. Switch 2's having a success, all because of the Switch 1 of how popular that was. But we don't know that, man. That is just, that is subjective. We honestly don't know that. I don't think it's going to outsell even the Switch 1, even. I think people are comfortable because you got to remember the Switch 1 came out of time where free-to-plays was barely on the market. It was the only portable device. You have all these other Steam Deck, this, and this, and that. It's a different timeline. You know what I mean? A lot of Nintendo fans ain't even happy with it now. And I guarantee by the time Grand Theft Auto 6 come out, I think Nintendo owners are going to be singing a different tune. And mind you, you could say that Switch 2 has the most games, but they really don't. There's a lot of games that are missing from Nintendo that are also available even on the dying Xbox as well as the PlayStation. Or should I say Steam?
Times. And they have the SNES era that they won against Sega. If you talk about who has the most victories in the gaming industry, Nintendo does by a mile. Game Boy, 100-some million, Sony wasn't around for that. Ain't nobody beating that. You see what I mean? They won, like, big time.
I mean, technically speaking, Nintendo did cheat during that generation with the Sega Genesis. I mean, it's kind of hard. But you can't really say that because Sega systems was selling better in Europe than they did. That's what I'm saying. What are we comparing this off? Because the Sega Saturn, even though it was a failure in America, sold better than the N64 in Japan. So that's what I'm saying. What are we basing this off? And why does this even matter? Matter of fact, the Sega Saturn, which was a dying platform, had more games than the N64 did. Matter of fact, it's one of my favorite systems. I like I said, you guys get what I'm saying, man. I don't think as gamers we need to worry about this type of stuff. You know, like I said, this type of stuff is trivial.
Want to go to the software sales? I already showed you guys that 50 million, 70 million, 80 million, you know what I mean, 40 million, 30 million in totality from beginning to end.
That was with the Switch 1. We don't know that leading into Switch 2, though. We don't know.
Hardware and software, they won. They put no games nowhere. They won. They outsold everybody. They put multiple games on multiple consoles, times 3, times 4. They won. The only victory Sony has is PS1 and PS.
I didn't win. I as a Nintendo owner, I don't feel like I'm winning. Paying for voice chat, Nintendo World Showcase, game key cards. Where am I winning? What do you guys brag? I'm not saying him, but where are people bragging about? The Nintendo Switch 2 is far worse at launch than what the Switch 1 did. You're getting expansion packs that y'all paying $20 for, and y'all acting like y'all winning? What the hell are y'all winning? Y'all not winning nothing. Y'all getting scammed. When you got gamers talking about, oh, they winning. What are you winning? Because as far as I'm concerned, they can be winning in the pockets, but as a gamer, I'm losing. Oh, Animal Crossing Horizons update, $20 upgrade pack. Where am I winning? I want somebody to explain to me where I'm winning. Because if you're looking at it from the perspective, oh, well, the money, then Microsoft's winning because they got the most money. I'm just saying, I just think this stuff is stupid. I don't know why gamers focus so much on this crap. It's ridiculous. I understand to a certain degree you want to know how well a game sells just so you know if you can get a sequel. But the fact that everybody's so wrapped up about how much money this one has over the other, it boggles my mind. Because I say to myself, where are you winning? Where are you winning? It's like that sports nut syndrome where it's like they're rooting for the team to win, but y'all ain't even the ones playing on the field. You got the fans crying over the guy that's walking out. Oh, look at that. Oh, my football team lost after you paid your money, drank all your beers at the stadium, and you got this man coming back home with a $20 million check on the field. He ain't crying. He's sitting there talking with the boys. Yeah, we could have scored that last touchdown, but I'm sitting comfortable in my nice $10 million home. Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got a hot model wife and all that, and y'all out here crying because the Falcons lost or something. Man, listen, ain't nobody want to hear this crap.
To an extent, but in totality, I still had the Game Boy plus the console sales combined. You see what I'm talking about? Totality, because you can look at the whole picture. So PlayStation was winning in its own lane. Nintendo was winning the whole thing, and everybody needed them. Everybody copied them.
So did they copy him during the N64? Did they copy him during the GameCube? Did they copy him during the Wii? Yeah, they did. I think I remember with the Wii remote and the Kinect and all that because it was a gimmick. Nintendo Wii did well all because of a gimmick. And then the Wii U, which we already know what happened with that. Ain't nobody was copying Nintendo. You can't even say that they copied Nintendo because portable gaming has always existed.
They followed them. They opened up the door. They saved the gaming industry.
No, they didn't. Nintendo did not say. See, that's the pipe dream that you guys want to believe. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo did not save anything because did it save gaming in Europe? Because the Sega Master System outsold the NES in Europe. You guys do understand this. That's what I'm saying. What are you guys basing this stuff off? When y'all sit there and say it saved gaming, what do you mean it saved gaming? If those games didn't go to the NES, they would have went to a whole other platform. It was all due to the fact that Nintendo had illegal contracts during that era to make sure that these games didn't go anywhere else. As far as I'm concerned, it wouldn't have mattered. Because the games would have just came out on another platform and then Contra would have been successful on the Sega Master System. That's it. If we went back in time, that's all it was because that's all Nintendo offered and then that's all people really cared about. And Nintendo also had their Legend of Zeldas and all. But let's be honest, it was that TMT, that Contra, and that Castlevania. It was that third party.
This is facts.
And that's why Nintendo struggled ever since they lost some of it during the N64. And that's how PlayStation 1 came into the frail because think about it. The same games that would have been available on Nintendo were the same games that dropped on PlayStation 1. Final Fantasy VII. Remember, that was originally planned for the 64. Dropped on PS1. Chrono Cross, which was a sequel to Chrono Trigger that started on Super Nintendo, was only available on PlayStation 1. That's how PlayStation won. They won because they took the same page out of Nintendo and said, you know what? We can't make games, but we'll have developers make games for us. Nintendo, they gatekeep themselves by using cartridges, and Sega, they just wasn't selling, and they messed up putting the console out before the competition and all. I know my gaming history. Ain't nobody can sit there and tell me I'm wrong in what I'm saying because I know what I'm talking about.
Here. And when Sony came into the handheld industry, they lost every single time. They lost during the Wii era. They lost in the Switch era. They're going to lose in the Switch era.
No, they didn't. Sony did do good with the PSP. It didn't outsell the DS, but it definitely did. I think it did like 80-something. The PSP sold very well, actually. The Vita didn't do well, though. But the PSP did quite well.
That's the most victories. I've seen some dumbass stuff on Twitter. People saying, what are you talking about? Nintendo won. You want a first-party software comparison of every console? You're getting destroyed first-party. It's mostly third-party. Let's be real here. And I love PlayStation, you know what I mean? I love Nintendo, and I love the Xbox when it was great. I love Sega, you know what I mean? I love PC gaming. But Nintendo's king because they gave way more than every other platform.
We'll see how far Nintendo's king when that GTA 6 come out because I guarantee Grand Theft Auto 6 is king. And guess what? Switch 2 ain't got that thing. Switch 2 ain't got it. Even the cat looking like, yeah, he did Switch 2 don't got that, Slim. It don't got it. It don't got it, Slim. Switch 2, I don't know what they're going to do, but they ain't got it. Even MBG's cat isn't agreeing with me. Look at the shock in this cat's face, bro. Look at it. Everybody's afraid of this game.
The platforms, you take a bunch of people's games. You don't give what they give.
I agree.
You don't. Steam gives nothing. Where are your games at? Past 20 years, nothing.
Wow. Crazy.
Every other platform, all these other platforms, you take a bunch of people's games. You don't give what they give. You don't. Steam gives nothing.
Gives nothing. Come on, AG. Come on, bro. Let's not do this. Steam gives nothing. Steam gives nothing. I'm actually quite excited for Steam to come on a new Xbox. You know, for all the games that are not dropping on console. There's a lot of games on Steam. I can't believe it. Like,
because they gave way more than
like,
every other platform. All these
like,
other platforms, you take a bunch of people's games. You don't give what they give.
Okay.
You don't. Steam gives nothing.
Nothing.
Where are your games at? Past 20 years, nothing. Same old games sitting there.
Wow. But guess what? It's the same old games on Nintendo. It's the same old games on Xbox. And it's the same games dominate on PlayStation. And you know what it is? Roblox, Call of Duty, Fortnite, Grand Theft. It's the same. So what are you talking about? Even if you want to use exclusivity, it's the same games. Oh, Mario Party, Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey, Mario Galaxy. It's the same games, though. So when we use this argument, oh, it's the same games, well, the same games can apply to everybody. It can apply to everybody. Call of Duty dominate in all platforms. PC even. Roblox, Fortnite, you name it. The only reason why they ain't dominating on Switch 1 and 2 is because those games ain't on there. And we know why Nintendo don't do it. Because they're afraid that people are going to get used to quality games like Power World. That's why they try to sue the company. Because they're afraid that people start realizing like, damn, Pokemon ain't really worth a damn. That's why Power World ain't on Switch 2. Because Nintendo, as confident as you say they are or say they be, is afraid of Power World and Roblox. And to throw things in a perspective, those games ain't beating Candy Crush. I know. Ain't that pretty sad? Ain't none of those games beating. So that just shows you, like Doc would say, there's levels to this. I guess so. There's
Nintendo's consistently dropping 6, 7, 8 games per year. Talking about what Microsoft did. Man, Nintendo's been doing it for 40 straight years.
Microsoft has dropped, what do you mean? They dropped Avowed. They dropped South of Midnight. What are you talking about? If we talk about Game Pass, they had Expedition, Metaphor. I mean, the list will go on. But if we're talking about the games that Microsoft put out, they put out Avowed, South of Midnight, Doom Dark Ages, Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2. And you saying Microsoft ain't dropping games, though? The only company ain't dropping games is PlayStation. That's why they keep talking about Yote and next year Wolverine. They ain't dropping nothing. Xbox and Nintendo, I will say Nintendo is dropping more games. Like, if you look at it, Xbox is dropping the most games. Nintendo's right underneath that. And then you got, and at least in regards to consoles, and then Sony's dead last, bro. Sony ain't been dropping nothing, bruh.
35 straight years, as a matter of fact, selling consistently from their own insights. They didn't grab and monopolize anything. And they're running multiple hardwares. Handheld and consoles consistently 24.
No, they're not. Nintendo left home consoles. That why you think the Wii U was the last Nintendo home console? They left home consoles before Xbox. And like I said, man, we're going to end this video here. But like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. AGN, please don't let the fanboys get to you, bro. This is nothing but love. Like I said, I wanted to chime in this conversation. I think you still have good gaming power. I seen his last video was really good. I'm like, bro, we need AGN to go back to the old ways, man. Because that was the AGN that I rock with. You know, you need to come back home, man, and start making that type of content. But when you say that Steam has nothing and stuff like this, this is not a personal insult. This is just a gaming conversation. This is all it is, man. This is not attacking. I don't understand why people think because you address a plastic box, not saying him, but just saying in general, that you're attacking a person. That makes no sense, bro. Like I said, all these people that think like that, go seek some help. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't let the fanboys get to you. They're going to probably say, oh, games to beat you in the argument. You don't know. Don't let it get to you, brother. Because at the end of the day, it's all love for me at the end of the day. This is a gaming, keyword, gaming conversation. All right? That's all it is. If you want to chime in, make a video in response to what you think I'm wrong, I'm very accepting of that. But I don't want to hear this whole, I'm dancing with the devil. I don't want to hear all that because I'm just going to completely ignore the video. And I'll probably, at that point, I'll stop making videos completely. Maybe you might do it just so that will happen. Because like I said, it's just for gaming conversation. I don't think nobody should be taking this personal. And I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen like that. Because I'm not even going to call you a Nintendo fanboy in the title of the video. I'm not. Just so we can avoid this conflict. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, make sure you guys go subscribe to AGN. He does have some good points. I watched his last video. You know, he's a very good content creator. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Take care and peace out.